Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on the concept of Pitra Dosha. So friends, just because last video which I uploaded on my channel hovering around the same topic was the conjunction of Saturn and Ketu in Vedic astrology. So in the comment section and even separately in a lot many mails, people asked me that is it the Pitra Dosha or not, or what could be the combination for a Pitra Dosha, or I have read in the books, or some astrologer has told me that I have got this Pitra Dosha in my chart. So what exactly is the true definition of that? So now friends, just because after that video, today I was scheduled to make a video on the conjunction of Saturn and Rahu. But then again I thought that if I'm not going to be clearing this topic in a standalone video, so I will again give rise to more confusion. And also friends, as you know that my channel and my approach has always been psychological, scientific. So even at the time when I was talking about the conjunction of Saturn and Ketu, so I even used those kind of points that definitely Ketu is a very perfectionist planet, Ketu is a very critical planet, and conjunction of Saturn and Ketu. So Saturn, which is the significator of your profession. So this conjunction in a way could make you very meticulous in your work ethics as well. So all of those are definitely going to be a psychological or a scientific way of studying the planetary alignments. But friends, when we go by the language of the classical text, where they have put a lot of emphasis on this Pitra Dosha, so what gives rise to a Pitra Dosha, or what could be the signs or contribution of that is something which we will try to understand in this video. So now friends, before we will jump straight into this concept, first of all you have to understand this thing that everything which happens in this world, in our lives, everything happens because of a reason. Like a spiritual way of understanding our chart is that our planetary alignment is that at the time when our soul was awaiting for a body, so basis the kind of karma which we have done and all of the account of that which has been stored in the Akashic records, you call it Chitragupt, you call it Ketu, but at the time when we got the right set of parents, right set of womb via which you can burn out your all of those karma, or you can undergo and experience the fruits of all of your past life actions. So our soul gets the body and we are born. But friends, the beauty over here is that everything which happens in universe always happens in a very perfect way. You will not find any kind of a shortcoming in the way universe function. So like the way friends, all of our planetary alignments even within the family are always interrelated and interconnected with each other. Because friends, I have been following astrology for a long time, and just because some of my clients are that I keep on seeing their whole family members charts as well. So I will give you a very small instance. So it's a real case study. So a guy who has got his moon placed in the 8th house, and this is the same person who told me that not only about his psychological state, which is very researchful, but his mother has had issues of ADHD, bipolar disorder, and all those kind of psychological impulse related issues. And friends, when this person got married, or like when I got a chance to see the chart of the wife of the same person, so even in the chart of the wife, when I looked at the 8th house, I found the Mars to be present over there. And definitely because the mother-in-law, she is a very difficult person to deal with. So definitely in the male person's or in the boy's chart, you can fairly see about the nature of the mother, and the daughter-in-law which came in the family, you can fairly see the same alignment. So this is how all of our charts are connected with each other. Trust me friends, there has been all those instances that where a person in his life, he was going through all sort of hardship, but the moment this person was blessed with a baby girl, and the girl has had those kind of yogas of success contributing towards the father. So father's business after the birth of the female child grew rapidly. So this is how all of our charts are interrelated or interconnected with each other. So those all are the good news. But now let's start our discussion on this Pitra Dosha. So now friends, first of all, in order to understand this Pitra Dosha, which could be interpreted in so many different ways. So this could be described as per our classical language in this way, that somehow your departed ancestors, either they did something wrong to someone because of which your family got the curse, or this could be that they are not happy, and because of which all of your undertakings in this lifetime are getting hampered, are getting delayed, or you are facing the suffering because of that. So now friends, in the chart, first of all, what all are the alignments which give rise to this Pitra Dosha? So you have to primarily look at the condition of sun and moon, the original luminaries. Sun, which is the significator of your soul, and moon, which in a way is the significator of your subconsciousness. Now this is the kind of participating planets which you have to give utmost attention. Now second thing is that what all are the influence on your luminaries which could give rise to this Pitra Dosha. So for that friends, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu are the chief contributor towards the Pitra Dosha. So over here, because Mars is also considered as a malefic planet, but Mars never contributes towards that. So let's say for example, the alignment which I said, that you have to see Sun, Moon, Rahu, Ketu and Saturn. Now friends, the alignment can take place in so many ways, but moreover important is the houses in the consideration. So let's say for example, if you will find that either of these eligible and participating planets are forming a yoga either in the first house, which is your complete life, fifth house, which is the house of your past life actions, and in a way friends, whatsoever happens or whatsoever affects us, it affects us through our mental setup, it affects us through our thought process, and also our past life actions and all of that, our buddhi. So because of which fifth house, then is the 8th house, which is a very sensitive house, and lastly is the 12th house. Now friends, not lot many people include 12th house, rather in a lot many cases I have seen people including 9th house, because they say because 9th house is the house of your father or your ancestors, and here we are talking about the Pitra Dosha, so which in English can be translated as Pitra, which is a word synonymous to the father. So people correlate more towards the or get inclined more towards the 9th house, but in a way 9th house is the house of the divine presence. So when I am talking from the perspective of obstruction, curses, any sort of setback, then I would say that you have to give more emphasis on the first house, fifth house, 8th house, and to an extent the 12th house. Now friends, in which kind of alignment you will find this Pitra Dosha eligibility is getting fulfilled? So that's very simple. If you will find that moon is conjunct with Saturn with the influence coming in from either Rahu or Ketu, then this gave rise to a very strong Pitra Dosha. So let's say for example, your moon is conjunct with Saturn, and it is also conjunct with Ketu. And if you will see, the moon nakshatra is of Rahu. So in a way, all of these planets are becoming very influential on your moon. So because of which this will definitely give rise to the Pitra Dosha. And if you will find this yoga to be getting formed in the first house, fifth house, 8th house or 12th house, then definitely some sort of effect of Pitra Dosha will definitely get experienced in the life. Now friends, when we talk about that, what could be the effect or influence of this Pitra Dosha? So friends, definitely here we are talking about that your departed ancestors, first of all, let's try to understand or break it down in different parts. So like the way when I first mentioned this yoga, I said that there could be some misdeed or some gruesome action which might have been committed in your ancestry. So now this could be that some of your grandfather or great great grandfather, they actually tortured someone, or they actually usurped someone's property, and that person who got deceived, this person committed suicide, or this person put a curse or something like that. So these are the kind of alignments because of which not only the current family which is accused or which is responsible for that, but also friends, there are further generations as well which has to face the heat of that. And friends, when we talk about astrology, astrology is a science of observation. Like, trust me, if you will sit and talk with atheists and non-believers, somehow you get more points to have stronger faith in your belief. So like, I will give you one small instance. So I was just having this discussion with one of my friend, and he's not a very strong believer of astrology. So he just said this thing, that I was just praising that our ancient sages were so enlightened that without having telescope and everything, all those advanced apps which we have now, they had the exact knowledge of all the planetary alignments. Then he said this thing that, years back, there were no light pollution, and the whole time you do not have a television set or something to do, so even you can see Milky Way so clearly from so many places. So then I said this thing, okay, it's not only about that you can see the planets with your naked eye, but important is that you were in that deep meditative state, that you were able to decode and understand the effect of that. It's not only about locating the planets in the sky. The main magic or mystical aspect is understanding the influence of those astral bodies in our human lives, so for which we have to contribute and give credit to our ancient sages. So friends, like the way I was telling it to you about that, when we talk about, because this being a science of observation, so in which way you can correlate or understand that the Pitra Dosha is actually influencing someone's life in a negative way. So friends, definitely, like if you will find that there are certain concerns of back-to-back accidents or unnatural death in the family, or the cases of the, see, when we talk about autism, so I do not attach that with Pitra Dosha, but in certain cases it has been seen that in the same family ties, you will see that without any legitimate reason, within the same family trees, there are multiple cases which are getting affected because of that. So that could also be contributed towards it. Now again friends, like the way I said that when we are talking about a stand-alone fire incident, that cannot be contributed to Pitra Dosha. But on and off, if the same thing is happening in the same family, and a lot of the family members are back to back getting victimized because of this incident, then you can say that Pitra Dosha, if that yoga is there in the chart of the family members and these kind of instances are happening, so then we can conclude that definitely the negative effect of Pitra Dosha is affecting the well-being of the family. That's one thing. Second thing is that friends, definitely there could be those instances that all those natural events of the family which are not taking place in time. So for example, you are not being able to get settled down in your family business, or you are not able to get married till at a late age, and that too when you are very much willing to settle down. So you are not able to get married, or there has been those cases in the houses where people have this Pitra Dosha, that there have been like 3 or 4 siblings and none of them has got married. And let's say for example, even if you are married, so there have been multiple cases of miscarriages, or person is not able to have the happiness on the account of children and all of that. So those are the some sort of visible signs or symptoms that the Pitra Dosha is acting out in a negative way in your chart, and you have to get the remedial measure done for that. So friends, when I was talking about the eligibilities, like the way I mentioned this thing, that it has to be taking place in your 1st house, in your 5th house, in your 8th house, in your 12th house. Moon or sun has to be getting affected because of the influence of Saturn, Rahu and Ketu. And trust me, the effect of this dosha is going to get more intensified if you will find that apart from that, the native was born at the time of the new moon, or native is born with a alignment of the Kal Sarp yoga in the chart, and if specifically this yoga is taking place in your 8th house, then in a way it becomes very sensitive. Now friends, the very simple definition to decode or understand this yoga is that if Pitra Dosha is going to be taking place in the 1st house, then definitely it is going to have a say in the major undertakings of your life, where we can talk about no explanation for the delays in the family, major important events of the life, some sort of unnatural deaths in the family. So this could contribute towards that as well. If it is taking place in your 5th house, then definitely the major concerns are going to be hovering around the children. So either the family is not able to conceive a child, or even when you have the happiness on the account of children, but children are not taking well care of you, or the cases of multiple cases of autism in the family, so that can also be contributed to the effect of this yoga taking place in your 5th house. And friends, when we talk about the 8th house or the 12th house, these are the very sensitive house. Then in those kind of cases, we always say this thing that friends, you have to not only protect yourself from this yoga, but also you have to guard your energies as well, because in a way Pitra Dosha does not only make your subconsciousness susceptible or vulnerable towards the curse of your ancestors, but also it also makes you kind of vulnerable on the account of some negative energies in your environment as well. So like the way friends, you must have heard all those things that you go to certain places, you find yourself being drained of your energy, or the moment you are going to be sharing your secrets with someone, you're going to share your good news with someone, immediately someone's evil eye is gonna create obstruction in all of your good tasks and work. So then in those kind of circumstances, friends, self-protection and guarding your energies become more and more important. And friends, also there are certain nakshatras as well which are in a way more prone towards it. So like generally what has been mentioned in the classical text is that Sadbhisha is not considered as a very good nakshatra for that, because first of all it is the nakshatra of Rahu. So the power of illusion is very strong over here. And friends, that is the only reason we say this thing, that if you are born with a gift, it acts as a double-edged sword if you do not know how to utilize that energy. So trust me, when we talk about anything to do in the domain of research, in the domain of healing, in the domain of gaining that meditative spiritual powers, so Sadbhisha has got a league of its own. Out of all the nakshatras, Sadbhisha constitutes with majority of the number of stars within it. So what could act as a blessing for this nakshatra can also become a attached curse to it as well. So let's say for example, if the yoga which I just explained, that you are a Cancer rising person, and in your case your ascendant lord moon is placed in the 8th house, and it is placed in the Aquarius in the Sadbhisha nakshatra, and it is conjunct with Saturn over there as well, it is conjunct with Rahu or Ketu there as well, then definitely it is going to be giving rise to a very intense form of this Pitra Dosha, regarding which as per our Hindu rituals there are certain remedies which I will explain at the end of this video, which you have to consider opting for. Now friends, definitely when we talk about there are certain yogas which have been mentioned in the classical text as well, but I always say this thing, that whatsoever you have to believe in, you have to opt for, or you have to do anything pertaining to that yoga, you have to apply that as per the Desh Kal Patra, the country, the period and the era we are living in. Like the way for example there has been so many doshas and the curses which have been mentioned in our classical text, which somehow hovers around the killing of the snakes. Now I will be very honest with you, I am by myself a very strong Lord Shiva devotee, I am a vegetarian, everything is fine, but see, I am good friends with people from Vietnam. I was just talking to this lady at work. She is from Brazil, and she was telling me this thing, that for her one of the vocational work, so she even spent some time in Amazon forest as well, and she used to live with the natives, indigenous people and all of that, and then she was telling me about what all food they eat over there. So now again when we talk about these kind of yoga, so there are certain coastal countries and where like eating these entities is a part of their culture, their custom, their natural diet. So because of which whatsoever you have to apply, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, that what is getting qualified in your case. Like the way friends, when we talk about that donation for sun, so we say that in India you have to do the donation of wheat because that is your primary staple or your primary diet, central diet in India. But when we talk about countries like Philippines or Vietnam, over there in order to do remedy for sun, because in your country, in your culture, wheat is not the main entity, it's the rice. So you might have to donate the rice. So why this, you're not only fixing up your sun but also your moon as well. So this is how we have to update and upgrade all these remedies, all these yogas, that what exactly is getting qualified in your case. So friends, lastly I just want to summarize it in this way, because we already had our discussion on the conjunction of Saturn and like Ketu. The next video is going to be on, very soon, is going to be on the conjunction of Saturn and Rahu. So just because many times I refrain from using these heavy terminologies, that there is going to be heavy accident, there is going to be some very major curse which can affect you. So just because I thought that there has to be a standalone video where I am just going to be explaining you these kind of alignments, that definitely friends, if you have your sun or moon in the grasp, in the grip of Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, and that too in these volatile houses, so that in itself has got some encrypted attached meaning to it. So if let's say for example, if it is not affecting you, then it's fine. But let's say for example, all the central areas of your life are getting affected because of that, then you have to do something, you have to opt for certain remedy, because in those kind of cases and alignments, you will not be able to find the reason for that, the root cause of that with rational mind. You have to take refuge in mysticism, in spirituality, in devotion, that why all these unexplained things are happening in your life, and these kind of Pitra Dosha could be attached to one of the reason responsible for it. Now friends, when we talk about the remedial aspect for that, so definitely over here I'm only going to be explaining you the kind of ritualistic measures which has been explained in our Sanatana Dharma, in our Vedic scriptures. So definitely friends, for any of these kind of appeasements towards our ancestors, there is a certain days of the year as per our Hindu lunar calendar known as the Pitra Paksh, which generally comes as per the after the full moon of the lunar month of Bhadrapad, and when the Ashwin month starts. So those initial days are the days where we all the Hindus all across the world, we do the, like there could be a Tripandi Shraddh or Narayan Bali Puja, and there are certain rituals which you have to do in order to appease the kind of affliction which you have received because of the actions, deeds of your ancestors. And many times friends, what happen is that, see, it's not only the that your ancestors are not happy from you, or like for example they have done something wrong, so because of that the curse which is getting passed from one generation to another. But many times it has been also seen that what happen is that if you are a standalone person within your whole family who is very religious, who is very ritualistic, so many times what happen is that it's not only in your living world, but even your departed ancestors also going to have high expectations and hopes from you, that they definitely expect that because of you and your good deeds, the whole name of the family tribe is getting uplifted. So because of their high expectations and you carrying this kind of sensitive yoga in your chart, so somehow the wires of your subconsciousness tend to remain attached with your ancestors where they can influence you. So friends, when we talk about the remedies, so I already explained that the Tripandi Shraddh and the Narayan Bali Puja, which we generally do in the Pitra Paksh as per our Hindu lunar calendar. And friends, I always say this thing, any dosha which involves sun, moon, Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, there couldn't be any better remedy than the worship of Lord Shiva. Like the way we say that Bhavi Meti Sakhi Tripurari, it's the Lord Shiva only who is capable of changing the course of your return destiny. So seeking refuge in Lord Shiva, specifically if you are going through these kind of instances, can be one of the good remedy. Third thing is that, friends, even the Vastu of your home plays a very pivotal role. See friends, when we talk about astrology, astrology is the knowledge and science of understanding the planetary vibration, influence of the planetary vibration in your life. Same way, the space where you live in, the space also is carrying some sort of energy. So specifically in those cases where you have those kind of doshas in your chart, in your family chart, because if one member is going to have that kind of yoga, trust me, one or another family member or the next generation or the previous generation definitely is going to have answer for that. So because of which giving attention towards the any sort of Vastu dosha becomes also very important, that you have to keep the northeast corner very light and heavy item on the south, or kitchen or the work of barbecue, all of that in the southeast. So all those are the classical Vastu principles which you have to also follow. And friends, one more thing which I want to say over here is that, because sometimes people also ask this thing that, okay, if like a person A has got two sons, so if there is a concept or there is some authentic truth in this Pitra Dosha, so then they should be affecting both the brothers. Why it's only affecting one person? So friends, over here your own immunity also comes into picture. See friends, you are born with a certain planetary alignment and yoga in your chart, and ever since you have taken birth, there is definitely going to be that your free will only operate within the boundaries of your predestiny. But over and above that, the thought process you have, the actions you indulge in, so that also plays a very pivotal role. And most importantly friends, all these kind of yogas only enter our life, our subconsciousness, through the stability or instability of the moon in our chart. So let's say for example, if out of this family tie or this family tree, if person X has got two sons and the family has got this Pitra Dosha, but person A who is unaffected because of any of this effect of the Pitra Dosha, so maybe this person is very religious, this person is very like forgiving, very helpful, very religious, and moreover the person might have, you might have this yoga, but the house in which this yoga is getting formed, the lord of that house is in a strengthened state, Jupiter is in a strengthened state, Jupiter is aspecting this Pitra Dosha house. And over and above that friends, like the way when we say that your lifestyle choices as well, at the end of the day we only get controlled or influenced by the energies of another person when our own aura is going to be weak, and you can only give strength to your aura while giving more strength to your moon. So we say that drinking lots of water, always keeping yourself hydrated, and keeping a fast on the full moon, like although for these kind of alignments you have to keep a fast on the new moon, because the Amavasya fast is more dedicated towards the Pitris and full moon is for our own spiritual mental health well-being. But this is how friends, you have to give strength to your moon, to your psychological state, so that you can tackle or you can handle any of the effect of these yogas. So definitely friends, this was just a standalone video, because when I talk on any sort of conjunction, I focus more on the scientific or psychological side of those conjunctions rather than getting into the mystical side of it. So in this standalone video, now there could be this reason that today moon is transiting in the Scorpio in my 8th house, so I was very much inclined towards making a video on this topic. And you know, this is how the Sadbhisha people are, very much attuned with the cosmos. So yes friends, and we will continue our series, and if you have still any doubts pertaining to this Pitra Dosha, so I will look forward to your participation or your views in the comment section of this video. So friends, for further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.